Hello, children. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? I hope everyone is fine and doing well, taking care of yourself and also your family. Children, I am your new science teacher and my name is Shaheen Miss. I heartily welcome you all to K-Tech High School and Junior College. Children, today we are going to start a new lesson. That is lesson number 2, plants, structure and function. So are you all excited? So let's begin. Children, we are going to study about the structure of a plant. So how can we say that the object or the organism which we see is a plant? How can we differentiate it? We can differentiate them by different plants, different parts of the plants, right? Like the roots, the seeds, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruits. So, a plant has all these different parts: seeds, roots, stems, leaf, flower, and fruit, isn't it? So, we are going to study all these different parts of the plants. We can identify plants with the help of these characteristics. Isn't it, children? So let us study each one of them in detail. The first one is seeds. Children, process by which seeds grow into seedlings is called as germination. Okay, what is the process of germination? It is the process by which seeds grow into seedlings. Now, children, if we take an example, if we moist a ball of crumpled paper in a conical flask, and if we place some soaked moth beans or gram seeds in that flask, okay, between the paper and the glass ball. So, what we can observe there? We could see the seed germinating, right? We could see that seed, it is growing into a seedling within 2 or 3 days, isn't it? As you can observe on your screen, children, that the seed is germinating, right? You can see on your screen. So what is actually happening here? The part that grows inside the soil towards the soil is called as radicle, and the part that grows above the soil is called the plumule. Are you getting me, children? The part that grows from inside the seeds towards the soil is called the radicle, and the part that grows above the soil is called the plumule. Are you getting me, children? Good. So, a radicle is what? It is the part that grows from inside the soil. Plumule. It is the part that grows above the soil. Coat. Seed is surrounded by tough covering. Okay. The covering which is tough and the seed is surrounded by it. That covering is called as coat. Embryo. Seed contains baby plant. So these seeds stores the reserve food in fresh cotyledons. Okay, the substance which is present inside the coat of that seed is called as embryo. which contains the baby plant, and it stores the reserve food in fresh cotyledons. Now children, these seeds are of two types, monocotyledonous and dicotyledonous. What is monocotyledonous seeds, children? These are the seeds which do not get divided into two equal parts. If we cut open a seed and if it is not dividing into two equal parts, it is called as monocotyledonous seeds. For example, maize. Okay. And what is a dicotyledonous seeds? The seeds which get divided into two equal parts. It is known as dicotyledonous seed. That means if we cut open the seed, we could see the seed is dividing into two equal parts. So it is called as dicotyledonous seeds. Understood, children? Good. Now let us study about the roots. Children, these roots, they grow below the ground, right? The root that forms from the radicle grows into the ground. The root is thick near the ground and it gradually tapers to a pointed end. This part of the plant growing below the soil for support is called a root of the plant. Understood, children? Children, these roots, the structure of them is when the seed germinates, radicle emerges. We have just learnt this. And then it gives rise to primary roots. These primary roots, they further develop into secondary roots. Roots bear hair-like processes near the root tips. As you can see, children, these are called as root hairs. The root tip is very delicate. This is the region of the growth of the root. The tip is covered by a cap-like structure called as the root cap. The root cap protects the root tip from injuries. What is the function of roots, children? Root fixation. That means it fixes the plant to the soil. So root helps in the fixation of the plants and they absorb the food and minerals from the soil and transport to various parts of the plant. So the absorption of food and minerals is also one of the function of roots. Understood, children? Roots are of different types like taproot, fibrous root, adventitious root and true root. Let us study what is a taproot. Primary roots give rise to thick central root. It branches and rebranches, forming secondary root. So children, roots of some plants, they produce secondary roots that grow obliquely and they spread far and wide in the soil. This type of root is called as a tap root. Are you getting me, children? Let's see some example. Examples of tap root are mustard and sunflower. So these are the examples of taproot. So have you understood what is a taproot? Very good. The next type is fibrous root. They are formed by thin, moderately branching roots growing from the stem. So these are the thread-like or fiber-like roots which arises from the stem, and they are called as fibrous root. Fibrous root system is universal in monocotyledonous plants and ferns. So fibrous root we can see in monocotyledonous plants. Are you getting me, children? So what are fibrous root? They are thread-like or fiber-like roots which arises from the stem. For example, here, as you can see, mango tree, a pea plant. So these are the examples of fibrous root. Got it, children? Good. The next type of root is true roots. They develop from the radicle of a germinating seed. Now, you must be knowing the meaning of radicle, right? Very good. So, the roots which are developed from the radicle of a germinating seeds are true roots. For example, carrot. Okay. The next type of root is adventitious root. Now children, these are the roots which arises from the stem or the leaf of a plant. Okay. Plants like maize, sugarcane, sorghum have two types of roots. So some roots are underground, whereas some grow from the stem just above the soil. So these are called as adventitious root. Understood? For example, a banyan tree. You must have seen this, right? So these are the example of adventitious root. Okay? So what are the functions of roots? Yes, absorption of water and minerals, anchoring and supporting the plants, right? These are the functions performed by the roots. Now let us learn the next structure of the plant, that is the stem. Children, the stem grows above the soil from the plumule of the sprouting seeds, right? As the sprout grows, the length of the stem gradually increases too. So there are nodes on the stems and leaves come out at the nodes. Okay? So the part of the stem between the two nodes is called as internodes. So the stems, they bear leaves, buds, flower and fruit. And where does it lies? It lies above the ground. So let's see the structure now. Now these stems, they are soft and green, or they can be woody. Okay, and nodes are also present on the stem. And also children, from this nodes, as you can see on the screen, from these nodes leaves come out. Okay, and the part between the two nodes which you can see here is called as internode. And children, Buds are also present on the stem. Okay? The tip or the apical end of the stem is called a bud. What is a bud? The tip or the apical end of the stem. It is called a bud. Now children, buds are of two types. Apical or terminal buds. That means which are present at the tip of the stems. Those are known as apical or terminal buds. The second is lateral or axillary buds. So these axillary bud or lateral buds are present at the lateral side near the nodes. So these are known as axillary buds. So what are the functions of the stem, children? It supports leaves and flower. Second, it transport and distribution of food, water and minerals. For protection, for support and for storage of food. Now stem for protection. In some plants, children, stem is modified into thorns and it prickles to protect from grazing animals. For example, a rose plant. You must have seen that a rose plant has thorns present on it, right? So, basically these thorns are present to protect themselves from the animals, from the grazing animals which graze on them, which eats those plants. Okay? Stem for support. Some plants with weak stems have slender, coiled outgrowth called as tendrils. So they help to coil around and support. For example, a passion flower. Some plants have climbing stems that twine around a support. For example, a money plant. We say the devil's ivy. That means a money plant. Right? It grows and it climbs. Right? It needs a support. So these are the stems for support. And stems for storage of food. Now children, lower branches grow horizontally and swells up for storage. For example, potato tuber for storage. You must have seen some tubers coming out of potatoes, right? Fleshy scales for underground stem with central bud called bulb. For example, onion. Thick stem. It grows horizontally below the soil surface. For example, ginger. So these are the stems that are useful for storage of food. I hope every one of you has understood. So what we have learned today? We have learned the structure of the plants and we have learned the seeds, roots and stems, right? I hope every one of you have understood today's lecture. With this, we have come to an end of today's lecture. Children, kindly watch the video attentively and then read the lesson for better understanding. We shall meet you in our next lecture with a new topic. Till then, take care. Thank you, children.